Hello, my name is James Simo, and I wanted to quickly show off my Dwarf Fortress voxel world viewer thing. I already demoed this in a YouTube video, but it had no voiceover or anything. And I kind of wanted to update people about exactly what this is, what's going on behind it, I suppose, and everything. I was going to make a thread about this on the Dwarf Fortress forum, but I applied for it like a week or two ago and I haven't got it in yet. So anyway, we'll see if I can join the forums. But quite a lot has changed since you've last saw this. I'll probably put some footage up side by side about how it used to look. But now, as you can see, I now actually render fortifications. I also um, have added in some shading on things like slopes and walls, some ambient occlusion. I can even actually make this a bit more obvious with this. There we go. So I've added some better sort of ambient occlusion. And something else I have been experimenting with is blending vertexes like this. So now things look a bit muddy, but that's sort of the idea, is to make the terrain here. You see all this now kind of blends in a bit more. So before it would look sort of like this, where I was separating all the terrains, but now I'm experimenting with blending them like this to kind of make it look a bit more realistic. I say realistic. It looks a little bit like a Nintendo game like this. Something else I have been working on is actually, if you look at the slopes here, I've actually been working on making the floors actually merge into the ground a little bit. So maybe it's easier to see without the vertex shading on. So let me get rid of the vertex blending. There we go. But yeah, you can see here I've kind of tried to make all the floors actually blend in together. So I can actually turn that off here. And it takes a second. There you go. So that's with the no sort of like merging. This is with the merging. I'm not exactly 100% happy with this, but I kind of want to show it off. As I said, I made a thread on Reddit, and people asking if I was going to put like shading in and lighting. So as I said, I've already these vertexes, this isn't like real lighting. This is just ambient occlusion essentially, where I just blend the vertexes and I kind of guesstimate where I should be putting shading in. It's really not realistic, but I think it gets the point down. And I have actually added in a very rough shading if I press G. So this is actual lighting now, but as you can see up here, it tanks my frame rate. It's really not good. I'll be honest with you, the code here is extremely sloppy. And it was a bit of like, I wouldn't say vibe coding, but I definitely had to ask AI how to do this, and I'm not happy at how it explained things, so I'm probably not going to use this. But yeah, so yeah, this is fortifications in here, and you can see I've actually started putting in some furniture. If I go through my front door here, now the actual doors here. There we go. And here's all like tables and chairs. The chairs are a bit small. I need to fix that. But this is kind of how I was thinking about doing things was, you see all these doors are different colors. Well, that's because they're made of different materials. So I'm not actually putting textures in here. Everything, my plan was to make it, vertex shaded. Essentially, like all the coloring, all the texturing would actually be done by the vertexes. Now, if that's blending or not blending them, I'm not 100% sure yet. And yeah, just to show you the whole world, like this. And of course, this is sort of like the whole gimmick of everything, was that I can actually render the entire world in one draw call. And people ask me how I managed to make it all in one draw call. So everything you see here is built into a single mesh. So even like a table and a chair here, that is a part of the same super mesh. So this is one massive mesh that is broken up into chunks and drawn like that. So yeah, here we go. I can see inside everything. I can also press H here to unhide. So this actually shows. This will actually show like everything, and it actually. Well, sorry, I lied. It won't show things that aren't known yet. Basically, shown hidden. So you know, it's kind of interesting that it just takes off. It takes off roofs by default because roofs aren't actually ever seen in Dwarf Fortress. And then, but obviously, there you go. So I'll turn it back on. You know, people commented that I dug way too deep. I agree. So this is my central staircase here. That is very interesting. That is something I do not know what's happening here. That looks like to me a glitch. It's recreated all the time here, but I don't have it in some other forts. So other forts, I have like a little patch of it here. I have a feeling it just has something to do with the way Dwarf Fortress is, sorry, Dwarf DF Hack. I have a feeling it's the way that DF Hack is serving me data. I may go into like more details about the technology behind this, but I do plan on putting this on GitHub eventually once it's, you know, more stabilized and I'm happier with the code. Because right now, you know, a lot of this code is very placeholder. I'm not a professional C++ developer by any means. I am a professional developer, but I normally stick with like, you know, higher level languages. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything. Yep, and again, I just want to show the progress. And again, I do want to get this on GitHub eventually for people to contribute to. And as I want to show it to people and kind of get some opinions on if we should be, you know, blending the vertexes or don't blend them. I can honestly see like arguments for both of them. So I'd probably just keep it as a toggleable. Right now, I just made everything a keyboard shortcut because that's just how I do everything when I'm working with RayLib. Oh yeah, and again, you know, I never really mentioned this, but yeah, this is using RayLib as the renderer, but I have deliberately kept the renderer completely segregated from the logic code. So ideally, you know, a different renderer could be used. I was tempted to use Godot as an engine in the past, but I just used RayLib because it was fastest for me to get up and going with it, honestly, because a Godot, you know, I'd have to use it as a renderer and not as a how would you say, I wouldn't be using Godot like GD script, and I wouldn't be using like its GUI. I would just be using its renderer, which I know you can do. People have talked about that. Yeah, so here's me going down my massive stairwell. This is how I like to do stairwells. I actually don't draw I don't make stairs. The ramps are a little bit. It's a bit difficult to see the ramps, but yeah, that's how I do it. I just make everything into I make ramps, kind of like how procedurally generated forts are. I kind of copy that, but there's some stairwells there. But there's a little door again. Yeah, if, dwarves can't fit through here, so it's okay. Boop, there you go, through a door, through another door. Oh, where am I? Anyway, yeah, it's a lot of fun. People said they would love to see this in adventure mode and stuff, which I agree with. I am going to work on a collider. Ideally, a collision should be really easy to do because, again, if this is just a one giant mesh, and I haven't really done much optimizations to the mesh. I'm not actually using proper greedy meshing just yet, so everything is still like a voxel. So yeah, you can see here. So yeah, this is extremely, you know, not performance. You can see I'm drawing all the individual things here. I have got a greedy meshing algorithm. Like I have like an implementation of one, which it worked, but it broke some things. So I'm still working on that. But again, it worked. You know, I'm dancing around here. I'm getting 60 FPS. The only time I go below 60 is on the surface because this grass is really not ideal. I'm going to fix the grass. Right now, I'm just using a procedural texture because I wanted to, but again, that was really not performant. The only reason I did it is because I had some procedural grass from a previous game I was working on. A lot of this is just like recycled things from other games, basically, that I've worked on, like the ambient occlusion, the vertex blending.